Several years back, my wife Sandy was at Brook Green Gardens with a group of her students from the Wilmington Academy of Arts and Sciences, where they heard a presentation by well-known performing artist, writer, and cultural interpreter Ron Daise. The Brook Green Gardens are on the site of a former rice plantation, and through storytelling and song, Mr. Daise gave such a powerful presentation about its history and the importance of the Gullah Geechee people in that history that Sandy came home and said that I had to find some way to have Ron collaborate with the Wilmington Symphony. This weekend in the Wilson Center, we're going to give the premiere performance of that collaboration. Ron sent me a script comprising 3 stories. The first is a bleak recounting of the horrible conditions endured by enslaved Africans during the voyage to South Carolina and their subsequent treatment by the plantation overseers. The second is a more light-hearted story about a young boy who gets an unexpected reward from a fiddle-playing turtle. And the third story is a literally uplifting tale called The People Could Fly. Between the stories, he sings traditional songs like Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child, and also uses the tune of Soon I Will Be Done with the Troubles of the World to make an important point that Africans were forced to leave their homeland not just because the plantation owners needed their labor, but more importantly, they depended on their expertise in the growing of rice. Ron also sent a voice recording of the stories and songs, and so my contribution has been to make orchestral accompaniments for the songs and underscoring music for certain sections of the spoken stories. I'd like to share some details of the creative process for one point during the story called The People Could Fly. Here is Ron with that story.
"Then go," Josh said. He began speaking words over her, rhythmic words, words that sounded like breezes from faraway places.
I decided to have the underscore begin right after the words, "Then go," Josh said. Notice that when Ron speaks of soothing words and breezes, that his voice is both melodic and rhythmic. I started by making notes in the script about moods and timings. The soothing part was created with gentle chords in the strings. On the mention of breezes, I made a note for some kind of fluttering sound in the woodwinds based on a rapidly rising scale and a trill. The upper line continues ascending in pitch as Sula flies away. Now, though, the story becomes tense again as the sun scorches and the field hands begin collapsing. The high note representing Sula flying away is played by the violins in the orchestra, and on string instruments it is possible to sustain a single note that changes from quiet and ethereal into one that is loud and intense, all through how the violin bow moves across the string. So the single note representing Sula's ascent transforms into the heat waves. The mood quickly changes as Josh rides over to rescue 2 field hands from the slave driver's whip. So the high notes descend back into the soothing chords. Here is what this music sounded like at a Wilmington Symphony rehearsal a few weeks ago. To give you a preview of how this will come together, I'm going to combine Ron's voice recording with our rehearsal recording.
"Then go," Josh said. He began speaking words over her, rhythmic words, words that sounded like breezes from faraway places. And Sula rose and stepped up on the air with her baby in her arms and flew away. Those who saw her thought they were losing their minds, because the sun had become scorching hot, and heat waves were circling their heads as they worked. Soon a field hand fell down, and then another. The slave driver rode his horse on the dike to where they were, but Josh got there faster. He began speaking words over them, rhythmic words, magic words, words that sounded like breezes from faraway places. And those two men rolled over, sprouted wings, and rose in the air like two black birds. Gone!
Don't miss the premiere performance of Sankofa Return and Get It with Ron Daise and the Wilmington Symphony, Saturday, February 4th at 7:30 p.m. in the Wilson Center.